all of the news. My guy Carl is in the building. How is it going, my friend, my brother?
Hey, Rashid, long time no see.
Yes, sir.
Always good to see you.
Hey, Carl, there was Vladimir Putin. He came up and he said that one of his greatest regrets was not acting as he should have in 2014 when the militias had the Ukrainian forces on the rope. What is your perception of that? Because had he acted, things would have been much different today.
Oh, that's for sure, because the West they never had the intention to implement the Minsk agreement, which was supposed to freeze the conflict in eastern Ukraine. Instead, they used the 8 years between 2014 and 2022 to stockpile weapons, to arm Ukraine military, to train them with NATO tactics, and to integrate them into the NATO command structure. And we've seen the result of it in the early phase of 2022 the special military operation, because in 2014 Ukraine didn't have any kind of military strength to speak of. Like the Ukrainian military were being stopped by militias from East Ukraine, by a bunch of miners, union workers, and I mean but I think the calculus for Russia was different back then, because Russia in 2014 wasn't at a point where they're ready to make a break with the West the way they were in 2022. If we recall, in 2014, the so-called collective West, led by United States, still looked fairly strong. They just did the Arab Spring. They had, their fostered ISIS and Al Qaeda forces were marching on Damascus in Syria, and so it made tactical sense back then for Putin to hammer out the Minsk agreement in the hope that the Western alliance would abide by it and effectively freeze the conflict in eastern Ukraine. But now, in the hindsight, we know that didn't work, because the West never had intention to stick through the Minsk agreement. And they were just buying time so they can confront Russia further down the road. And that's 2022. So in a sense, Putin was right. Like in 2014, Russian military would have much easier time if they decide to take action in East Ukraine. But at the same time, because at the same time, it's hard to foresee future, right? You can't really tell the future. I mean, in 2014, how would you know there's going to be? I mean, at that time, Azov and the neo-Nazi element is already strong in Ukraine. They were being empowered to do the Maidan takeover. But at that time, you can't really foresee that by 2022 they'll pretty much do a takeover of the whole government. They could dictate basically to Zelensky. When Zelensky at one point told them to pull back, they just basically stick a middle finger to him, and Zelensky had to back off. And this is so I mean, 2020 hindsight is 2020. From now 2024, yeah, Putin probably should have gone in 10 years ago, but but from 2014, the future is still cloudy. I mean, I think he made the best decision based on what he had know back then. I mean, obviously now looking back, we know the West is not to be trusted, right? So